Daniela will be our speaker today, and she will be talking about friendship. I don't know the content very, truly, so I'm also looking forward to hear more, and I'm sure it will be amazing. Also, it will be taking approximately 65 minutes. So it will be like a lecture, but it's a gift. So it's an amazing time. I'm recording the session. I will be, if everything goes right, I will be posting Turkish and English on my channel, and Spanish maybe, Tasha, I don't know about it, but English and Turkish will be available. Kaydı paylaşıyor olacağım. Türkçe ve İngilizce benim kanalımda Gaye Alkan YouTube kanalında bulabilirsiniz. Arkadaşlar şimdilik benden bu kadar. Birazdan minutes, I will be setting the translation. For Spanish speakers, please stay on the main channel. I mean, we are all staying here, but you don't need to choose anything. You will be hearing the Spanish as the main channel. If you wanna listen to English, you need to click English from interpretation because we have double translation here. Like Daniela will be speaking in Spanish. I will be translating Tasha from English. So please, if you want to listen to English, choose English from interpretation. Arkadaşlar, şimdi Türkçeyi ayarlayacağım. Eğer İngilizce dinlemek istiyorsanız İngilizceyi seçin. Çünkü ana ses İspanyolca olacak. Her şey açık mı? Net mi? Sizi gördüğüm için çok mutluyum. Okay, let's welcome Daniela. Daniela, it's wonderful to have you here. You can
Dili
just
nereden seçeceğiz Gaye? Dur, çok özür diliyorum.
Dili hemen şimdi ayarlıyorum. Ekranın altında, just a second about translation. Ekranın altında bir dünya ikonu var. Oradan seçiyor olacaksınız. Şimdi gör.
Tamamdır.
Hadi
Sağ
bakalım.
olun.
Eğer bir yardıma ihtiyacınız olursa asistanım Merve Yılmaz, chatten yazarsanız herkese görüyor olacaksınız. Welcome Daniela, and it's yours.
Yes. Thank you, Gaye.
Just a
Thank
second. I need to set the translation, and then we are good to go.
Yay. Ahí estamos bien. Muy bien.
Hı hı.
Muchas gracias, Gaye. Gracias por la invitación, gracias por tu amistad, gracias por ser host de este evento. Y bueno, dijiste, vamos a
Beni
hablar
duyabiliyor
de la
musunuz
amistad.
arkadaşlar? Do you hear me in the main channel? Just a second.
Yes,
Sorry about
the
it.
main channel.
Sorry
Don't
about
worry.
it. Yeah, it's perfect. Okay, now it's
Ay. Gel aşkım.
okay.
Kahve dersin başlıyor. Yanında durman lazım. Hadi gel. Gel kuzum. Senin de maman var, tamam mı? Biraz sonra ama şimdi değil.
Cennet Çakar, sesiniz açık.
Ya estamos bien con la traducción. Tengo que abrir esto para ver a todos. Ya, muy bien. Voy a abrir esta pantalla y voy a aprovechar para ver a las personas que tienen su cámara encendida. Muy bien. Ahora me siento más acompañada ahora que veo todas sus imágenes. Muchas gracias. Gracias, Calle, por hostear este evento, por tu invitación, por tu amistad, por siempre compartir. De verdad es
For
algo que
always
admiro mucho
sharing.
de ti,
It's
el
really
que
something
siempre
I
quieres
admire
compartir
a
toda
lot
la
about you, that you
información,
always want to share with others
todo
the
lo vas aprendiendo,
information,
vas, lo
everything
compartes
that
y
you're
es
learning, you go
algo
and
muy
you
bonito.
share it, and that's something that's
Merhaba
really nice.
a
So,
todos.
merhaba, hello to everyone.
Dijiste algo, Gaye,
And you
al
said
final,
something,
al
Gaye,
principio
in the
dijiste algo
beginning.
mientras
You
estábamos
said
esperando que
something
todos
while we were
se
waiting for
conectaran.
everyone to be connected.
Dijiste que fuéramos
And
al
you
té, que
said to go
fuéramos al
get your
café,
tea, your
y yo espero
coffee,
que alguien haya ido
and
por su
I hope
café.
that someone went and got their
Espero que
salip.
alguien aporte
I
la
hope that
esencia de
someone
esta
is bringing
reunión
the salip into
para que
this
todo sea más
meeting
dulce y
so
más
that
feliz.
everything can be sweeter
Es
and
de los
nicer.
sabores que más
It's one
recuerdo
of
de
the
Turquía y que
best
Gaye
favors,
siempre ama.
flavors that I remember
Algo
from
más que
Turkey
dijiste
and that
ahorita al
Gaia knows I like
principio
a lot.
fue,
Then something you
íbamos a
said at the
hablar acerca de
beginning
amistad,
is that we were going to talk about friendship,
pero que no sabías mucho
but you
y
weren't
sobre cómo íbamos
exactly
a hablar de
sure
eso.
how we were
Aquí
going
te
to
ibas a
talk about
enterar.
it or the content, and that you were going to find out too.
Dos look. Friendship.
So,
Amistad.
friendship in
Es una
Spanish,
palabra
amistad.
realmente
It
compleja.
is a really, it can be a complex word, right? It's a word that we have in all languages. And in theory, since we're small, when we're just studying, they tell us, about what friendship is, about what friends are supposed to be. And I looked up the word in Turkish. And I think this is how you say it. Arkadaşlar or something like this. I hope I said it correctly. Okay.
Arkadaşlık. Evet.
Arkadaşlar.
Yeah.
Practicar.
I'll have to practice it a little more.
Realmente es una palabra que está en todos
But
los
it's
idiomas,
really a word that's
pero
in
es una
every
palabra
language.
compleja.
And it's a complex
Amistad
word.
y
Friendship
amiga son
and
palabras
friend
diferentes
are two different words
en todos los idiomas.
in all
No es lo
languages.
mismo friend
It's not the same as friend
México,
or
una cosa es
friendship.
amistad, otra es
In
amigo.
Mexico, one thing
Ahora
is
aprendí que cuando
friendship,
escribes
one thing is friend.
does look,
And now I know that it's
arkadaşlar.
does look.
O
And
no sé cómo se
the
pronuncia.
other word for friendship, or however it's pronounced.
Pero realmente
But
es algo
truly,
complejo. Entonces,
it's something
Gaia, cuando
that
tú
can
decías
be
al principio,
complex.
no sé muy bien de
So,
qué va a
Gaia,
hablar,
when you were saying
pero
at the
vamos a
beginning, I'm not
descubrirlo
exactly
juntos,
sure what we're going to
pero
talk
también lo voy
about,
a
but we're
estar
going to
descubriendo
discover
junto
it
con
together.
ustedes.
I'm also going to
Cuando
discover
decidí
it with you.
empezar a
And
bajar información
when I
para este
decided to
webinar,
start to channel,
que
to get information
realmente
for this
me
webinar,
estaba haciendo esa pregunta
I
yo.
was really asking
¿Por qué
myself
hay
this
tantas y
question.
tantas
Why
personas
are there so
que
many
buscan una
people
amistad?
that are searching for
¿Por qué los
friends?
humanos
They're searching for
pensamos que
friendship. Why, as
necesitamos un
human
amigo?
beings, do we think that we need to have a friend?
¿Por qué los humanos pensamos que
Why,
necesitamos
as
estar
human beings,
acompañados de
do we
alguien
think
más
that
para
we
tener
need to have
éxito?
someone
¿Por
else
qué
with us to
pensamos
be
que tenemos que estar
successful?
con alguien
Or
más
why do we think that
para
we need to
entonces
be with
sentirnos
someone
bien?
else to then be able to feel okay?
Y más interesante aún,
And even more
no
interesting,
interesante,
or
raro.
maybe not
¿Por qué
interesting,
raro
but
realmente?
weird, because it's a little
¿Por qué
weird
pensamos
sometimes.
que
Why do we
necesitamos
think that we
ganarnos
need to
el
earn
cariño de alguien
someone's
para que
love
venga a
or
nuestra vida y
affection
entonces
for
se
that
convierta
person to
como un
come
amigo?
into our lives and then become a friend?
Realmente no le encuentro mucho
Because
sentido a eso.
really, it doesn't
Yo
seem to
soy
make
alguien que
sense.
siempre he tenido
I'm
la
someone
fortuna de
that
tener muchos
has always been
amigos,
very lucky to
pero
have a
la
lot
verdad
of
es que nunca he
friends.
buscado la
But
amistad.
really, I've never
Siempre lo
specifically
he
gone
tomado
out
de
and
una
looked
forma
for it. I've always
natural.
had friends very
Yo tengo
naturally or
41 años
organically. I'm
y desde
41
que yo
years old,
tenía
and
16 años
since I was 16 years
empecé
old,
a trabajar
I started to
como
work like
publirelacionista.
a public
Y no
relations
cualquier publirelacionista, era
agent.
una
And not just
publirelacionista que de
any
lo que me
public
encargaba era de
relations,
crear
I was
fiestas
actually in
en mi
charge of
ciudad cada fin de
filling
semana.
parties and nightclubs
Cada fin de
every
semana
night in my city.
en 10 lugares
So
diferentes,
every night in
en
10
cada lugar de
different
que habían a lo
places,
mejor
nightclubs,
800
maybe
o
each
1000
place there could
personas.
be, 800 or
Y primero empecé
1,000
con uno,
people in
yo
each
les
one of
vendía
these
mi servicio
places.
y
I
les decía,
started
voy a
with
traer a
one.
mucha gente
I would sell my
para que
services and
consuman
I
tu
would say, I'm going to bring a
restaurante,
lot
tu
of
bar,
people to come in to
para que vengan
consume
a
at your
bailar,
restaurant, at your
y los
bar,
tenía.
to come and
Y
dance,
luego veía que
and I
podía
would
llenar
bring them.
dos,
And then I
y
could
luego
see that
podía
I could
llenar
fill
tres, y
2,
luego
and then I could
cuatro, hasta
fill
que llegué a
3 and
10.
4 until I got
Y
to manage
honestamente,
10.
a veces
And
yo me
honestly,
preguntaba cómo hacía
if,
eso, la
I
verdad es que
asked
ni siquiera
myself how
sabía
I
cómo
did
hacía
that
eso.
exactly, I'm not
Lo
quite
único que
sure how
hacía
I
era tener
managed that.
amigos.
But I know that all I did
Entonces,
was have
yo
friends.
era
And
buena amiga,
so I was a
era
good friend.
divertida como
I
amiga,
was
o
fun
sabía
as a
hacer que mi
friend,
amigo
or
escuchaba,
I
o
know
sabía
how
ser
to
una
be a
amiga
friend that could
insistente,
listen
y el
or be
tener
very
esos amigos
insistent as a
los
friend.
invitaba el fin de semana
And to be able to
y
have
llenar
all of
todos esos
those
lugares.
friends, I would
Y a
invite
mí
them
me
the
pagaban
weekends
por
and
hacerlo.
those places would be full and I
No
was
sé,
paid to take
en
people.
dólares eran como
So
$2
I don't know, like
por
in
persona
dollars,
que
I would be
llevaba.
paid like
Eso era lo que
$2
yo
per
ganaba por cada
person.
persona que
So that's what
llevaba a
I
esos
would
lugares.
earn, per
Entonces, por eso
person
quería
to fill
invitar más
those
lugares para
places.
ganar
So
mejor.
that's why I needed more places to make more
Yo no
money.
sabía cómo lo hacía.
And I don't know
Y desde que
exactly how
estaba
I did
todas las
it,
chicas, y
but
yo me
since I was
acuerdo,
small, I remember
eran las Olimpiadas en
it
el
was
año
the Olympics.
1990
I
y
think it
algo,
was
no me acuerdo el año
1990
exactamente.
something. I don't remember the
Y yo
exact
vivía
year.
enfrente de un
And
parque
I
muy
lived in
grande.
front of a park, a very
Entonces,
large park.
estaban las Olimpiadas, yo las
And
veía en la
we
televisión
had
con
the
mis amigos,
Olympics, and I
y
would
entonces yo
watch
empezaba
them
a
on
organizar
TV
a
with
todos
my
mis amigos
friends,
del
and I would
parque
start to organize
para que
all of
hiciéramos
my
nuestras
friends at the
Olimpiadas.
park so that we
No
could do our
sabíamos
own
mucho deporte,
Olympics. I didn't know about
pero
a lot of
conseguíamos algunas
sports, but we would get some bicycles and some balls, and we would get all kinds of things and organize competitions as if it were our Olympics. And so, since I was little, I noticed that it was very easy for me to have friends. I think this virtue of friendship is something that I learned maybe in this life or another life, if you believe in past lives, and if not, it's okay. But I know it's something that I have very clear. And something that I also have very clear is that to be able to call someone your friend, that person needs to call you a friend as well, because I can consider myself a good friend. And I can consider that maybe I'm a good friend for this person and for this other person and for another one. But if that other person doesn't consider me to be a good friend, then probably we're not in the same energy and we're not in balance in that friendship. So probably that other person doesn't need a friend like me. And maybe that's where we can start to understand the difference between what a friend is and what friendship is. There's different kinds of friends, and we're going to see that a little farther ahead so that we can also start to understand how these friendships work. And I started to think about this webinar a few weeks ago because I was hearing different friends and different sessions, and this subject kept coming up over and over again, where they would come to the sessions and say, it's just, I feel like I don't have friends, or I feel like I'm alone, or I feel like I don't have someone to share my time with or my space. I feel like there are friends, but they don't have my same values, or they don't like to do what I like to do. And I would listen and I would think that's very interesting, because I don't think it's that this person doesn't have friends. I think probably this person hasn't noticed the kinds of friends that this person has to see what kind of friend to connect with in different occasions or in different situations. So I kind of started to bring down the information. And, in 2025, in the era that we're living right now, I think there's a baby around there. Very nice. And so in this era, at this moment that we're living right now, socially, we're really starting to confuse what it is to have a friend. I don't know from what generation you are, but me, I told you I'm 41 years old. So I had, different social media before what we have now. There was like Hi-Fi Messenger. There was, I don't even remember the names, but before, Instagram or Facebook where we could socialize. And then Facebook was invented. And when Facebook was invented, the way that you would click, and get to someone would say that you're friends, right? That you want to follow and be friends. So you would click and you would go, I want to be your friend. And that person would accept you as your friend. And it's like, oh, we're friends, right? Now we're friends. So just imagine, when Facebook started, I feel like an old lady, like a grandma. I know it was a long time ago, but when Facebook started a few years ago, I remember that, we didn't know that there were fake accounts, right? That there were fake profiles. So you would just go in and you would look for Brad Pitt. And there was the Brad Pitt's Facebook, and you would click on his profile, and Brad Pitt would say, yes, I want to be your friend. And Brad would answer yes. And so in your mind, it was like, yes, Brad Pitt is my friend. But really, it was probably a fake account, or maybe Brad Pitt and I were friends. I don't know. But it started to get a little confusing, what friendship meant with social media. So maybe someone can have thousands and thousands of people on social media, but while they're there at home on the weekend, they feel completely alone, and they don't have a true friend that you can share your feelings with, or maybe doesn't have a friend that you can go and invite to go see Lilo and Stitch at the movies. So, I think there you can see what a friendship is like. I think a lot of social media has confused this definition of friendship. And something that social media has also taught us, which I think is positive, is also to see what we have in common, the things that we have in common. Sometimes you
¿ok?
follow
Puede
certain
ser.
people on
Y luego los
Facebook,
dejas de
maybe,
seguir porque a lo mejor
and
ya
then
no
you
te
stop
interesa el
following them
contenido
because you're
para que
not
les está
interested in the
saturando tu
content that they're
feed
sharing,
con
and
cosas que
they're
ya no que
saturating
no te
your
interesan, que
feed
no van con
with
lo
things that
con
you're
lo que
not
te gustaría
interested
estar
in,
haciendo
or
tú.
something that you would like to be
Entonces,
doing.
mientras vas subiendo el número
So
de amigos,
as the
hay
number of
personas que se
friends
sienten muy
starts
populares y
rising,
que sienten
there's a
que
lot
tienen
of people
muchos
that feel
amigos,
popular or
pero hay
that they
otras
feel like they
personas
have
que
a lot
tienen
of
muy
friends.
poquitos
And
amigos
then there's other
y
people that
entonces
have very
sienten que no
few
tienen nada.
friends. And then they
Es
feel
una
that
falsa
because of that, they
creencia
don't have
de
value.
pensar que
And
el
that's
número de
just a fake
seguidores, porque
belief
ahora se llaman
of thinking that
seguidores,
the number of
¿no? Ahora
followers,
hay
because
otras
now they're
redes
called
sociales tipo
followers, right? Now
Instagram,
there's other
TikTok,
social
donde
media like
ahora son seguidores,
Instagram or
ya no son
TikTok, where now
amigos.
it's
¿Te fijas
followers.
cómo
It's
cambió la
not
palabra?
friends. And you
Antes
can
era
notice how
amigos,
the
ahora es
word changed.
seguidores.
Before it was
Entonces,
friends and
esa
now it's
palabra me parece
followers.
un poco
So
más
I think that
adecuada,
word maybe is a little
porque cuando estás
more
hablando de un
appropriate because
seguidor,
when you're
pues
talking
es
about a
alguien que te quiere
follower, then it's
seguir
someone
tu
that likes to
contenido, ir
follow your
atrás de tus
content,
contenidos,
that likes
porque le
to
interesa
see
sobre
what you're
lo que
doing and that's
hablas,
interested
porque
what
le
you're
gustan los
talking
tips que
about, or that
compartes,
likes
o
the
porque
tips
subes
that you're
cosas
sharing on
chistosas y
there,
le
or
gusta
because you
verlas.
share funny
Entonces,
things and they
ya
like
vas a
to connect
acomodar un
with you.
poquito más el
So we
concepto.
start
Sin
to
embargo,
have
todo
clear
esto
that
que empezó a
concept.
crear de
But all of
conceptos
this that
atrás de
started to
redes
create the
sociales, etcétera, y
concepts
que
and
eso de
social
ser un
media
amigo
and
empezó
everything
a,
what it
a
means
hacer
to be a
sentir a las
friend,
personas que estaban
this
solas.
started to make people feel
Digo,
like they were alone in many
no
ways.
sé, si vas un poco atrás en el
So if you
tiempo,
go even a
tú
little
no
farther
veías que
back in
una
time,
señora
you
fuera
wouldn't see
caminando en la
that
calle
this
y tuviera
woman, a
cincuenta
woman was
señores
walking on
atrás
the
de ella
street and
caminando,
had 50 followers
¿no?
walking behind her on the
Hemos
street,
estado ahí,
right?
por ejemplo, en
You know,
Istambul
we've been, for
y a veces
example,
son
in
sitios
Istanbul,
donde
and the
vas y te vas a ir a
tables are
tomar tu té
small,
o donde
right?
te
Where
vas
you're
a ir
going
a
to
tomar
go
tu
and you're going to
café
have
o
your
donde yo voy
tea or your
a ir a
coffee, where you're going to
Elizabeth,
sit
que
down,
son
or where I'm
mesas
going
de
to go and have my
4 y 5
salib.
personas
It's, you know, a
y eso
4 or
es lo que
6
realmente
person
importa.
table, maybe.
Las
And
personas con
that's
las
really
que
what's
vas y te
important.
sientas a la
The
mesa
people that you
y que
go
puedes
and you
estar
sit
tomando
down
un
with,
té y platicando
that
de
you
la
can
vida,
have
eso
tea and
es
talk
el tipo
about
de amigo
life.
al que quieres
That's
llegar.
the kind of friend that you
Hay
want to
muchas
get
personas
to.
que me dicen,
And there's a
pero
lot of
¿por qué yo
people
no
that
puedo
say,
encontrar
but
amigos?
why
¿O por
can't
qué
I
los
find
amigos que
friends? Or
tengo
why
no
is
me
it so hard to
valoran?
have friend?
¿O
Or
por qué los
why do I feel
amigos
like
con
my
los que estoy
friends,
no
you know,
consideran
they
que
don't
yo sí me
value me or they
valoro?
don't consider that I'm
Entonces, la
valuable?
respuesta
And
puede
so
ser
the
muchas
answer
veces,
can be many
hay que fijarnos
times
en dónde
we
estamos
just
buscando
kind
a
of
nuestros
need to
amigos.
look and
Hay
see
que
where
ver
we're
en dónde
looking
buscas
for
a tus
friends.
amigos. Si a ti te
Where are
gusta
you
mucho
searching
hacer
for the kinds of
ejercicio, por
friends you
ejemplo,
would like to
Tasha,
have?
le
So,
gusta
for
mucho hacer
example,
ejercicio,
Tasha
es muy
likes to do
fitness,
exercise. So
está
she's very
preparándose para un
fitness
Esparta.
and
No sé si
she's
sabes qué es eso,
preparing
pero
herself for a
es una cosa que se ve
Spartan.
muy
I don't know if
fácil
you know
donde
what
se
that is, but it's
cuelgan
like a
y corren
difficult
y tienen que tener fuerza.
obstacles
Es
and
algo que
things that she
definitivamente
has
yo
to
no voy a
do,
vivir
you know, like a
en este
race
tiempo divino
course.
de mi
It's
vida porque
probably
eso no
not
me
something that
gusta.
I would like to live through in
Pero
my
entonces,
divine
si
timing
Tasha
because I
quiere
don't
más
like it.
amigos así,
But if Tasha wants
¿a dónde
more
tendría
friends
que
like
ir a
that
buscar
are
amigos?
fitness, where do you think she
¿A un
should
bar?
go to find friends? Should she go
¿A
to a
un
bar?
restaurante?
To a
¿A
restaurant?
McDonald's? Pues
McDonald's?
no. Obviamente, si
Probably
Tasha
not,
quiere amigos
right?
fitness,
Probably if
entonces
Tasha
ella
wants more
buscaría
fitness
amigos en el
friends, then she would need to
gimnasio,
go and look for friends at a
haciendo
gym
hiking,
or
haciendo
doing hiking
senderismo,
or
en un parque
walks,
mientras está
you know, or maybe at
corriendo.
a park while she's
A mí
running or join a
me gusta la
specific group.
comida.
Now, me, for example,
Entonces, si
I
a mí
like
me gusta
food.
mucho la
So if I
comida,
really like
¿en dónde
food,
voy a buscar
then
amigos?
where am I going to go and look for
¿Voy a buscar
friends?
amigos en un gimnasio?
Then am I going to go to a gym to
No,
look
te
for friends?
sorprendería. La verdad es
Well, you'd
que
be
yo me
surprised
a
actually at
veces
gyms.
tengo amigos que me dan
Sometimes I
muy
do have
buenos tips
friends
así
that
de
are
negocios y de
very
empresarios,
fit that give me
pero no voy a
very good
buscar
advice
tantos
about
amigos
good
en el
food.
gimnasio.
But I
Yo soy el
probably
tipo de
won't be
amiga
looking
que
for
cuando va al
friends at the
gimnasio me
gym.
siento en uno de
I'm the
los
kind of
aparatos
friend that when I
y
go to
ahí
gym,
voy
I
contando
sit
cuántas
on the
veces haces
devices and I
ejercicio y
help
te
you
tomo
count
fotos mientras lo
how many
haces
times
y
you move
platico
or do
mientras
the
estás
exercise. I can
observando.
take
Entonces,
pictures
si
and
a
I
mí
can
me
talk
gusta
to
la
you so it
comida
goes by quick.
y yo voy a buscar
But if
amigos
I
o
like
yo voy a
food
salir
and
con
I want to
amigos,
find
¿a
friends or I'm
dónde
going to
crees
go
que voy
out
a
with
ir?
friends, where do
A
you
un
think I'm going to
restaurante.
go? I'm going to go to
Ir
a
a un
restaurant
restaurante y voy a
maybe,
estar contigo y
right?
vamos
I'm
a
going to
estar
be with
horas
you. We're we're going to be there hours talking about life and about nice things, but I'm going to be able to do that in a place where I feel comfortable too. So if you're asking yourself, where can I find friends? Where can I connect more? Then probably the answer, or actually the question that you need to ask yourself is, what kind of friends am I looking for? What do I like? What are my values? What would I like to share with my friends? And so there you're going to have an idea of where to start looking for friends. And the other part of this equation is obviously to be open. If you're not open to find amazing people in your life, if you're not open to share every beautiful thing that you have to give to others, then how do you want friendships that last a long time or really valuable friendships? If you close off or if you hide your emotions or your feelings, then it might be difficult to connect those valuable friendships. So it's like 50-50. It needs to be a win-win situation. You need to look for friends that can really connect with your divine timing, with what you're growing and searching for in your life. But you also need to open up and to commit to be able to give and open up those virtues that you have to give to the world. So to open up your heart and to be able to do an exchange with all of those beautiful things that you have to offer. And I firmly believe that the Creator is very fun. I believe that the Creator is very fun. So I'm sure that the Creator invented these virtues so that we could have fun between us. Okay, I don't know. When you were little, did you ever have like something that you collected or stickers or an album with different cards? And in the album, maybe you were, collecting everything until you could have the full album. And if you've never done this, it's never too late to start. On Amazon, you can look for an album and start collecting. But I think the Creator did it the same way with our virtues. And by inventing this concept of friendship and friends, we're doing this too. I think the Creator said this would be very interesting. They each start to develop their own virtues. You get to know other people. And when you get to know other people, you exchange virtues, little cards, and then you start to transfer that knowledge and those virtues, right? And so in this part where I'm talking about transferring knowledge and virtues and divine timing, and especially knowing that Gaye presented me also as a coordinator for Theta Healing, I just want to do a parenthesis and tell you that all of these opinions that I'm giving you in this webinar, they're mine, okay? They're just my personal opinions. It's not a Theta Healing class, but it is something that I've learned just over many years, more than a decade and a half, I don't know, 15 years now doing Theta Healing, but they are my personal opinions, okay? So I just would like you to close your eyes for a moment. Just close your eyes for me for a moment. And with your eyes closed, just think or ask the Creator just to remind you, who was your first friend? Boy or girl? Just remember, who was that first friend that you had when you were little? And what happened in that relationship? Do you still see this friend many years later? Now, as an adult, do you still see that little friend? I'm sure that it was a little girl or a little boy. And why did you drift apart or separate if that happened? And the way that you were connecting with other kids when you were little, when you were 6, when you were 8, do you think that really shifted the way that you relate now as an adult? All of those friendships that you had. And we're just going to leave this on pause. Just keep those thoughts in your mind, and then you can open your eyes. So just open your eyes. And so we all had a first friend. I remember my first friend when I was little. His name was Edwin. And I also had a cousin who was my best friend, and her name is Maria Jose. And they're friendships from when I was very little. And now, now that we're adults, we don't see each other very much. With my cousin a little on social media, she lives in a different country. But with my friend Edwin, honestly, I never saw him again. I think once I saw him at one of these parties that I organized, maybe when I was like 20 years old again. And we were very happy to see each other again. We hugged each other. We talked as if, we had never stopped seeing each other. But then we never saw each other again. I think I have him on Facebook. I don't know what he's like
¿verdad?
now as an adult, but
Pero
maybe I'll
bueno,
find out.
realmente las amistades
So
van evolucionando
friendships
y van
evolve over
evolucionando porque
time,
todos
and they
tenemos una
start
agenda
evolving
distinta.
because we all have
Entonces,
like a hidden
necesitamos
agenda. Okay, we all have a hidden agenda, and it's
y si tú
something
lo
that we need
visibilizas,
to
entonces
make
no te va a
visible, because if
causar,
you make this
no te va a
visible,
causar
then it's
intriga, no te
not
va a
going to
causar
cause
criminal,
like
no, no
questioning.
te
It's
vas a
not going to
sentir
make you
usado
feel
si
bad. You're
sabes
not going to feel
que tu amigo
used
tiene una
if
agenda
you know
oculta
that your friend has a hidden
o que tú
agenda
tienes una
also,
agenda
and that
oculta
you
cuando eres
have a
con
hidden
amigos,
agenda when you go and connect
¿no?
with a friend,
Si
right?
tienes una amiga
So if you have
que
a
sabes que le
friend
encanta
that
ir a
you
comprar
know that
ropa
she
y tú
loves to
quieres alguien
go
que te acompañe a
for
comprar ropa,
shopping, to
¿cómo le
buy
vas a hablar a esa
clothes, and
amiga?
you want someone to go with
Es
you to
obvio.
buy clothes, then you're going to
Si
call
tú
that friend,
tienes un
right? It's
amigo
obvious. If you
que
have a
sabes
friend
que es
that you
muy
know
fuerte
that's
y
very
que aparte tiene
strong
una
and that on
camioneta
top of it
y te
has
estás
a
cambiando
truck
de casa,
and you're
le vas a
moving
hablar a ese
from one
amigo
house to the other, then
y
maybe
le vas
you're
a
going to
pedir el
contact
favor que
that
te ayude a
friend and you're
cambiar
going
tu
to ask
casa.
him the favor to help you
Todos
move
tenemos
to
una
the new
agenda
house.
oculta mientras estamos
We
siendo
all
muy
have a
amistades.
hidden agenda
Pero
when
eso
we're
no
in
nos
our
hace ni
friendships,
mejores ni
but that
peores
doesn't make
amigos.
us good or
Solamente nos
bad
hace
friends. It
saber
just
y
makes us
reconocer
know
los
and to
talentos, las
recognize the
virtudes, las
talents, the virtues,
habilidades,
the abilities,
todo lo que tiene la
and
otra
everything
persona.
that the other person
Y
has to
esas
offer.
personas también
And
conocen
those
nuestros
people, they
talentos,
also know,
nuestras
those friends know
virtudes,
our
nuestras
talents,
habilidades,
our
nuestras
abilities,
virtudes
our
y todo lo que
virtues,
está también de
and
nuestro lado.
everything that we have to offer at the
Entonces,
same
cuando
time.
simplemente abres tu
So
mente,
when you open your mind to
aceptar que
understand
todos
this
tenemos una
and
agenda oculta,
accepting that we all
vas
have
a
a
dejar de
hidden
tomarte
agenda,
las cosas
then you're
personales,
going to stop taking things
vas a
so
dejar de
personally.
lastimarte
You're
pensando
going to
que alguien te está
stop
usando.
feeling hurt thinking that someone is
Y cuando
using
alguien te
you.
pide un favor, vas a
And when
decir, ok,
someone asks you for a
si me
favor,
está pidiendo
you're
ese
going to
favor,
say,
es
okay,
porque yo le puedo
if
hacer
this
ese
person
favor.
asking me for a
Para
favor, it
que
means
nadie
that
más
this
haría
person
ese favor como lo
recognizes
hago
this
yo.
in me, that no
Ahí
one
está la
else would
persona
do this
perfecta para
favor the way
ayudarte
that
en
I
eso.
could. This
¿Y
person
eso qué
knows that I'm
quiere
the
decir?
perfect
Que
person
esa
to help.
persona está reconociendo
And
una
what does
virtud.
that mean? That that person is recognizing that
Muchas
virtue in you.
veces nos
And many
trabamos un poquito en
times
eso,
we
¿no?
get a little bit
Entonces,
stuck on
hay
that.
personas a las que
And
no les
so
gusta
there's
pedirles
people
gente el
that don't
favor.
like to ask others for
Y a
favors.
mí a veces me cuesta trabajo
Sometimes for me,
pedirle
it
favores
can
a
be a
otras
little
personas, por
hard to
ejemplo.
ask other people for favors, for
Y sé que a lo mejor
example.
a ti te cuesta
And
trabajo
I
pedirle
know
a tus
that,
amigos a lo mejor favores.
maybe it's hard
Pero
for
yo
you
una
to
vez
ask your
escuché algo muy
friends for
bonito.
favors. But once I heard
Era
something that was
religión. No sé
very
por qué
nice.
estaba escuchando un
It was a
programa de
little bit
religión así en mi
religious.
carro
I
en
don't
el
know. I
radio.
was in my car, I was listening
Empecé a
to
escuchar
a
una señora
program on
hablando
the
de religión.
radio, and a
No sabía
woman
que
just
estaba hablando
started
de
to talk
religión.
about
Y
religion. I
estaba
didn't
diciendo
know she
cosas
was
muy
talking
bonitas.
about it, but she was
Y
saying very nice
entonces
things.
ella dijo,
And one of the
¿tú
things that she said
crees
was,
que el
do you
creador
think that the Creator
nos necesita a nosotros para hacer
needs
cosas por
us
otros?
to do things for other
Si el
people?
creador tiene todo el
If
poder
the
que tiene,
Creator has
¿tú crees
all
que
of
el
the
creador nos
power,
necesita a
do you
nosotros
think the
para poder
Creator
ayudar a
actually needs
otros?
us to be able to go and
Y
help
yo en
other
mi mente,
people?
o
In
sea,
my mind, I was
pensaba,
driving
no,
and
yo
I was
creo que
just
el creador
thinking,
puede
no,
hacer
I don't
todo,
think the
no creo que
Creator
nos
needs us.
necesite
The
a
Creator can
nosotros.
do everything. I don't think the
Y
Creator needs
entonces
us.
ella
And
dijo,
so she said,
claro que el
no,
creador no nos
of
necesita a
course the
nosotros para
Creator
poder
doesn't
ayudar a
need
otros,
us to go and help
pero el
other
creador
people.
nos
But the
permite a
Creator
nosotros
allows
poder
us
apoyar a otros.
to be able to go and
Porque
help
cuando el
others as a
creador nos
gift.
permite a
Because when
nosotros
the
apoyar
Creator
a otros,
allows us to go and help
nos
other
está
people,
permitiendo que nos
then the
demos cuenta
Creator
de
is
nuestras
allowing us
virtudes
to
y
recognize
nos
our
está
virtues
permitiendo poner
and
al
is
servicio de
allowing
los
us
demás nuestras
to be of
virtudes.
service and to
Y
put
entonces
and be
cuando
of
tú
service
dices,
with our
wow,
virtues for
siempre
others.
había tenido
And I
esa
thought,
duda.
wow, I always
Siempre,
had that question.
honestamente, había
You
tenido
know,
esa duda.
honestly,
Decía,
I really had that
¿por
question,
qué
and I would
hay
say,
personas
why are
que
there
tienen hambre?
people
¿Por qué hay
that are
personas
hungry
que
in the
no
world?
tienen
Why are there
ayuda?
people that don't have help in
¿Por
the
qué si el
world?
creador
Why, if the
es
Creator
bueno, el
is
creador es
very good, if this
omnipotente, el
Creator
creador
is
puede hacer todo?
omnipotent,
¿Por qué no nos ayuda?
omnipowerful, can do
Entonces, por
anything,
un lado,
why
claro,
doesn't the
pensé en su
Creator
libre
help us,
albedrío.
right? So on one hand, I
Por
thought
otro lado,
about free
claro que
will.
pensé en
And on
ayudar
the
a
other
sanarlos
hand,
del
I
karma,
also
de
thought
la
that they're
forma que ellos
healing maybe
están
certain
eligiendo.
karmas and the way that they're
Pero esa
choosing to heal
respuesta
it.
que dijo esa
But that
señora en el radio
answer that
me
that
dijo
woman
tal
gave on the
sentido. Y
radio,
dije,
it made
claro,
complete sense to me. I
el
was like,
creador es
yes, of
tan
course.
bueno que nos está
The
dando nuestro
Creator is
libre
so good
albedrío
that the Creator is giving us this free will so that we can use our virtues And for it to, for it to be this album of little cards, to stop just collecting it and keeping it in a drawer, in a box, and to actually be able to bring them out and use them and be of service for others. So the next time that you need to ask someone for a favor, just with your heart open, just remember, okay? Just remember that when you're asking someone for a favor, you're giving that person the opportunity to use and be of service with everything that that person knows. And at the same time, you're saying, I trust you, I value your talents, and I know that you can help me with this. And when you ask for a favor from that energy, you're leaving your ego aside. And obviously, that person is going to say, wow, this person is trusting me enough to ask me for this. And that's amazing. That's something that's very cool. So, for example, when I was thinking about this webinar, when I was thinking about this friendship webinar, I first asked Tasha and I said, do you think you could help me organize this? And she said, yes, of course. And then she asked Gaye and different friends that we have around the world that I knew that were going to be able to help me to give you these words today. And so right now, live, for example, there's 168 people connected. And I know that Gaia, with her friendship, when I asked her for this favor, she is putting and being of service with her virtues and said, I'm going to call my other friends because now there's 169, okay? Because there's something important to listen to. And so when we put this on YouTube and more people see it, it's the same thing, right? We're sharing this energy of how we can all use our virtues and help other people. And being a good friend is important, right? And how can you be a good friend? There's not exactly a guide of how to be a good friend. I hope Viana gives us a guide because she's very wise and she's a very good friend, really. So I'm sure that humanly, the best way that we can be a good friend, is sharing our virtues. But probably at one moment, we can learn different ways and different things. But there's a phrase on there on internet that they say, and they say, if you want to get someplace quickly, go alone, run alone. But if you want to go far, then always do it with more people. So always be accompanied by people that are of value, that are adding to you, adding to your virtues, and that want to go on that same path that you would like to go and grow with you. So they say that recently, that we don't all die the same way, right? There are people that die suddenly, and some people have an illness and they know that they're getting close to that moment of death. And maybe in another class, and very soon, we might talk about all of this light and this energy of transcending, which is also a beautiful transition. I'll be happy to share about this at some moment with you. But they say that when people are in their last moments of life, no one has asked, please bring me my trophy. Okay, when people are in their last moments of life, they say, oh, please bring me that trophy that I won at the marathon. Please give me that diploma that I earned. Bring me my science plaque from Theta Healing. In the last moments of life, no one says that. In the last moments of life, if they can ask for something, is that they ask for it to be surrounded by the people they love. So just make sure that you're creating an energy around you of people that you love, people that value you, that you value. When you're in those last moments, the people that you want to have around you may be praying for you or sending you love or filling you with light. Just make sure that you're focusing on creating those people of value, not just for you, but make sure that you are also being a person of value for someone else. Many times when I imagine my funeral, I think, should I start doing my list of people invited? And I say, well, we'll just leave it up to the creator. When that moment's come, we'll see what happens. And I've said this in many places, and I also want to say it here, is that there needs to be food, whatever we do, okay? I don't know if I'll be able to be eating, but I'm Mexican. I don't know if you saw the movie Coco, the Disney movie, but my Mexican beliefs say that I can eat even when I transcend. Okay, so make sure that if you come, to bring food.
Que no
Okay.
sea muy fitness,
So not too
esencial y
fit,
rico,
not too healthy, something yummy.
pero algo que
Okay.
yo he dejado en mis
But something
instrucciones,
that I've
no he
left
dejado
in my
muchas instrucciones muy
instructions,
claras,
I
pero
haven't
algo que
left
están mis
super
amigos,
clear
mi familia
instructions
y ahora
yet, but
estoy
something that my
súper claro,
friends, my
es que
family,
cuando yo me
and now
muera
you,
necesitar comida.
is that when
O
I
sea,
die,
yo
there
no sé
needs
si
to
en
be
lugar de una
food.
funeraria van
So
a
I don't
rentar un
know
restaurante, no
if
lo hagan,
instead of going to a funeral home, we're going to go to a restaurant. I don't know.
pero
No,
sí que
cancel
haya
that.
comida.
Okay. But definitely
Entonces,
there needs to be food.
rodéate de las personas que te
So just
conocen,
surround
personas que te
yourself of people
conocen,
that truly know
incluso cuando
you.
estés en esos
You know,
últimos momentos de
even when you're
vida,
in
van a
those
saber
last
que
moments of
estás bien, que
life.
estás en
Okay.
paz,
We're
que
going to
estás
see that
feliz
you're
y
okay,
van
that
a
you're in
saber cómo
peace,
acompañarte
and they're going to
en
know
ese momento
how
en el que estás
to be with you at that
trascendiendo.
moment when
Van a
you're
hacer que incluso
transcending.
ese momento de
They're even going
trascendencia
to make for that
perfecta.
moment of
Sé que
transcending for
faltan
it to be
muchos años
perfect.
para eso,
I know there's
pero esas
many years
personas van a
until
hacer
that
que ese momento
happens,
sea
but
perfecto.
those people are going
Y
to
si
make for
tú
that moment to be
despediste a
perfect.
alguien en
And
este
so if you
plano,
said
si
goodbye to
alguien ya hace
someone
mucho
on this
trascendió,
plane of
estoy segura
existence, if someone transcended
totalmente
that
que
you
si tú
love very
amabas a
much,
esa persona,
I'm completely
también
sure
hiciste
that
que
if
ese
you
momento
love
fuera
that person,
perfecto según
you
tu
made that
definición.
moment perfect
Y
from
según
your
hasta donde pudiste
perspective
hacer, obviamente.
and
Sé que lo hiciste a la
the way
mejor
that you
mejor.
needed to do it. You did
Entonces
it in
vamos a
the
dejar de
best way
hablar de cosas
possible.
tristes y te
Okay,
voy a
so we're
hablar
going
de
to
cosas
stop
más
talking about
tristes.
sad things
Cancelado.
and we're going to start
Pero
talking
te voy a
about
hablar
even
de los
sadder
tipos de
things.
amigos que hay.
No, cancel that. I'm just going to talk to you
Y
about
esto
different
no es
kinds
una
of
ley,
friends
¿ok?
that come into our
Pero lo
lives.
dice la ciencia.
And
Si
this
tú
is
empiezas a
what
leer un poco de
science
psicología,
says. And if you
la
read a little
psicología te
bit
habla
more
de
about
diferentes tipos de amigos.
psychology,
Yo solo te
in
voy a hablar de
psychology,
6
there's
el
also
día de
different
hoy.
kinds of friends,
Porque
but I'm just
solamente
going
sé
to
la
talk
parte
to
2 y
you
todavía no sé
about
6. ¿Cuál?
6. Maybe
¿Dónde
we
quedan?
can
La
do the
verdad es que
part
son los
2
únicos 6
and
que me
talk
sé,
about the
pero
other 6.
ya son de
No,
grandes.
I'm kidding. Okay,
El
I'm just
primer
going to
tipo de
tell you
amigo
about these
es el
6
amigo
and
del
that's going to be
alma.
good. So the first
Tu
kind of
amigo
friend
del
we're going to
alma es el
talk
que
about
refleja
is
tu
a soul
verdadero ser.
friend. Okay, a
Tu amigo
soul
del alma,
friend
así
is
como
someone
puede
that
reflejar tu luz,
shines your true
también puede estar
being.
reflejando tu
Okay,
sombra.
at the same time, this person can
Cuando estás
show
con un
the
amigo del alma,
positive part of you
siempre
and the
están en casa.
negative part of you. But when you're with that
Te sientes
friend, you feel
cómodo, te
like you're at
sientes
home.
rico, te sientes
You
bien.
feel
Este amigo
comfortable,
del
you
alma
feel
te ayuda
good.
a crear
And this
y
soul
a
friend
sostener
helps you
espacio
create
real.
and helps you to create
No
a
te deja
real
salirte de tu realidad, no
surrounding,
te
a
deja ser la
real
persona que sabes que eres.
situation. This person doesn't allow
Entonces,
you
por
to
ejemplo, si un
be
amigo del alma
something that's
sabes
not
que eres una
authentic.
persona
So, for example,
muy
if a soul friend
apasionada,
knows
muy
that you're someone who's
exitosa,
very passionate,
muy
very
alegre, y un día te
successful,
ve
a very
triste,
happy person, and
te
one
da un
day that friend
abrazo, te
sees
deja
you
estar
sad,
triste
that
y
person
después te
gives you a
recuerda
hug,
quién eres
lets you be sad, but
y
then
te lleva
reminds you who you are
a tu verdadero ser
and takes
y
you
recuerdas
to
sus
who you
virtudes y
truly are, to
simplemente
your
te
true
levanta.
being, reminds you your
Después está el
virtues
segundo
and
tipo
lifts
de
you up.
amigo.
Then there's a
Ese
second type
segundo
of
tipo de
friend,
amigo es el
and the
que le
second type
llamamos
of a
el
friend
catalizador
is
de
the one we call the
crecimiento.
growth catalyst.
Este amigo
So
catalizador de
this friend,
crecimiento es el
this
que te
growth
desafía, es como una
catalyst, is the
bomba.
one that challenges you. It's kind of like
Este
a
amigo
bomb. Okay, this friend
catalizador de crecimiento
comes and
es
is a
como si te apretara
growth
todos los botones y a
catalyst,
veces
but
casi
that
te
presses
vuelve
all of
loco.
your buttons and
Pero
sometimes drives you a
lo
little
bonito de este
crazy
tipo de amigo
and
es que
pushes
te
you.
apoya a
But the good
evolucionar,
thing about this
te está
person is that it
empujando en
helps
tu
you
evolución,
evolve.
te apoya a romper
Okay, is helping
patrones,
you
te
break certain
avienta con frente
patterns,
tus
kind of
verdades,
pushes you to
te
face
puede
your
generar
truths,
bastante
and sometimes can
incomodidad a
create
veces,
certain
pero su
uncomfortable energy
presencia
for you. But
realmente
that
es
person's
sagrada en tu
presence is
desarrollo.
really something sacred in your development.
Su presencia es sumamente
That
sagrada en tu
person's presence
desarrollo.
is
Porque
super
si tú no tuvieras
sacred
este tipo de
for
amigo
your growth.
catalizador de
Because if you
crecimiento,
didn't have this kind of
probablemente
growth
no te
catalyst friend,
animarías a
then maybe you
echar
wouldn't take
simplemente
that next
un
step,
brinco a muchas
you know,
cosas.
or take a jump into something
Después,
that you're
número
afraid.
3,
Now,
viene el
number
amigo
3, the
que es el
next one,
portador de
okay?
alegría.
It's
Todos
the
necesitamos
friend
uno de esos.
that is the joy
Si no
bringer.
tienes uno de
Okay, we
ese,
all need a
no
friend
habrá
like
mucho
this that
flujo, pero
brings
yo me puedo
joy.
rentar.
I don't know if you have a friend
No
like
nos
that, but if
divertimos
you
de todas
don't, I can
canciones
rent
así en
myself.
español.
Okay, I can be that friend for you,
El
even if you
amigo
don't speak
portador de
Spanish.
alegría te trae
And
ligereza,
so the joy
risa,
bringer
juega.
brings
Es un amigo
light
que trae
energy,
como mucha
plays
luz.
all the
A
time,
veces
brings a
no
lot of
sabe
light
cómo
into
estar
your
como muy
life.
tranquilo.
Sometimes doesn't know how to be
Te
calm or
conecta
deal with
con lo
other
que es
emotions,
divertirte.
but that person connects you
Un
with what it's
amigo
like to
portador
have
de
fun.
alegría te apoya con
A
tu
joy bringer, can help you with your creativity, with being spontaneous. It could be that these kinds of friends that create joy, maybe they don't always go very deep, but just the joy that they bring is like medicine for your life. So maybe you have a friend, I have a friend that says, I was with a friend that was visiting here to the city, and this friend was telling me about this friend that was there visiting her and having fun. And she was saying, I started to tell her something sad, right? And she was just like, oh, it's okay. You're going to be okay. Have you seen Sheldon from Big Bang Theory? But it was kind of like, like a Sheldon reaction. Like you're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And the friend started to cry and say sad things. And she didn't know what to do. And she didn't know how to contain or how to connect, with that friend to be able to go deep. But what she did know how to do was how to connect with joy and have fun. So she was telling me, she said, I just started to talk to this friend and I started to tell her a joke. And as soon as I started to tell the joke, she started to laugh and she started to have fun. And she came out of that moment of sadness where she was in. So, my friend was like, I know maybe I wasn't the best friend. I didn't help her resolve the problem that she had with her boyfriend, but at least I helped her to come out of that moment of sadness and to transform it into a moment of happiness. So that's kind of what a joy bringer does. Okay. Now, 4, the faded friend. It's kind of like the hologram friend. Do you know what a hologram is? That kind of exists. That like Toy Story kind of. Have you seen the Toy Story movie? I hope that they can sing while they're translating, but there's a song that says, when someone loved me, when someone used to love me. But it's kind of like this. It's a friend that kind of starts to fade. It's like when Andy grows up and then Woody says, oh, but he loved me. Now he doesn't love me anymore. No, it's not that Andy doesn't love Woody anymore. It's just that Andy matured. Andy grew up, became an adolescent, and maybe didn't feel so comfortable playing with his little baby toy. But if you see other parts of Toy Story, they always come back together and everything goes good. Okay. I don't want to ruin the ending for you. But a faded friend, okay, one of these friends that starts to fade, before they were very close and now they become distant. So that kind of friend represents an old version of yourself. So it represents an old version of yourself that you probably don't connect with anymore, but you still appreciate that person. Maybe you're not aligned energetically anymore, but the love from that friendship is still there. Okay, it can still be there. Sometimes when you think of these kinds of friends, you might feel nostalgia, or you can feel certain sadness or maybe pain, but it's okay. Okay, in the end, we're going to do a little meditation just to release any kind of sadness in case there's anything there. And then 5, okay, is the karmic friend. So this karmic friend feels very intense when this person comes in, or like you really know this friend from the beginning. It's the kind of friend that maybe you haven't been friends your entire life, but from the beginning, you feel like you can really trust or you feel comfortable with this person. Many times, these kinds of friends, they represent energies from past lives or things that you haven't resolved on a soul level, okay? But don't worry, it doesn't mean that it has to be negative things that you need to resolve. Sometimes you just need to love a little more or to have a little more fun. And so that's something that might not be resolved for you. And so maybe this karmic friend comes in, helps you with that energy and helps you resolve those situations. So that's why from the beginning, it might feel, so familiar to you, like you really recognize this energy. And so a karmic friendship can be sometimes very turbulent and transforming at the same time, but in the end, you feel like it's concluded. And probably while I'm explaining this, you start to understand some of the friends that you have in your life. Sorry, it's hot here. Let me turn on the air conditioning. So probably while you start to move forward, you start to understand your different friendships. Like, okay, I get it. I understand. This friend was a catalyst, right? Or this is the one that brings joy. Maybe that's why we don't say anything else and we just go and have fun. Okay, or this is like a friend that helps me with karma and resolve certain things. And then there's another kind of friend, which is the friend that's called the divine encounter friend. Sometimes when you have these divine encounters, you find a person and you find them sometimes very randomly. You don't even realize at what point or when you met this person, but suddenly you're friends, and this person changes the path that you're on. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I have a friend that his name is Angel, actually. And so his name was already a sign, right? His name was already the signal. But I have a friend, his name is Angel, and I was in an office, and he came into this office to replace a person just for one week. He came like for vacation, but he actually came to work for in the office for just 1 week. And I got to know him. We became good friends. He left to his city, and then we didn't stay in touch, just on Facebook. And then at some point, like in 2010, he became a theta healing instructor. And when he became a theta healing instructor, he wanted clients, right? And so he used his little album, his cards, and he said, Daniela, Dani, I know that she would love this class. And so he invited me. And what I was going through in my life at that moment, I said, yes, of course I want to take that class. And so I took my first class. He gave me my basic, my advanced class, and manifesting in abundance in 2011. Because back then we didn't have Dig Deeper or You and the Creator or very much. And so he gave me just basic, advanced, and manifesting. And that changed my life forever. And it didn't just change my life, it changed the lives of many people, thousands of people around me. So I'm completely clear, and I know that Angel was a divine encounter friend for me. He came out of nowhere. It wasn't something that I was expecting, someone I didn't really know. He was a brief friend, but he created a transformation in my life for the rest of my life. He created healing, clarity, and very special moments. And I actually just saw him last year. He came to visit to my city. He called me, he said, let's have lunch. We had lunch. We shared for 2, 3 hours, and then I took him back to his Airbnb where he was staying. And he said, I'm going to recertify this year. I'm going to keep taking the classes. And so, Angel, if you see this, take the classes, recertify. He hasn't come back, but I know he will. Actually, I'll send him a message today. I'll send him and remind him that he said he was going to recertify. But that is like a divine encounter, okay? Even his divine timing in theta healing, I know it was just to be able to teach the people that he taught at that moment, and that was perfect. So those are those kinds of friendships. And I'm just gonna share this image with you, okay? Just 10 seconds, just the image quick so that you can see it. Just so that you can have clarity, okay? These are the different kinds of friends. So these are the friendships. You can see the soul friend, the growth catalyst, the joy bringer, the fated friend, the karmic friend, and the divine encounter friend. Thank you very much for sharing.
Joy bringer.
The joy bringer. It sounds much better in English than in Spanish. Sounds very fun. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can actually also send them to Gaye. And if some moment Gaye sends me the questions, I can, of course, answer with any answer that you might need. Just the reason while I'm not answering questions right now is just one, I don't understand Turkish, but two, we just have an hour because from here, they're going to go and translate another class. So we're just going to keep moving forward. And just lastly, I'm just going to tell you the 6 phases that you go through when you're in a friendship. Because our friendship isn't just like, hi, nice to meet you, and then we're friends for life, like me and Brad Pitt on Facebook. It's not just click and then we're friends, right? We go through 6 different phases according to psychology. There may be more, okay? But this is just the basics. So the first one is the initiation phase. It's just the spark, because not everyone creates that spark with you, right? That you want to get to know. So first you meet that person, there's a spark, there's a connection because of an energy that you share, some resonance, something that you connect with energetically. And so boom, right? It's that first phase of coming together. It's just a recognizing that person's soul. So when that person comes, it's like, well, where is this friend from? You know, how did we meet? You know, why is it so easy to connect? Now, the second phase could be the exploration phase. When you explore, it's when you create connections and you start to get to know each other, you start to spend time together, you share stories, you know, and then you start to see that you have common interests. And then you start to create more trust, right? Trust with this person, you start to share. And not just trust, because when you have trust, what do you have? Limits. So in this second phase of exploration, when you start to spend more time together, you have trust, but at the same time, you start to test limits with each other. You start to put little limits on that person or that person with you, and you start to see the kind of values that person has. If it's a person that respects your values, is connecting with your values, or if maybe you're just going to put that person in a different category and not to have it as a friend for every day. And number three, the third phase is when you start to deepen. There starts to be a deeper emotional connection. There's more intimacy. There's a deeper friendship. You start to be more honest, more vulnerable. You start to open up your vulnerability, and you also start to create a certain loyalty. A loyalty like a virtue, okay? Not in a negative way. A loyalty in a very nice way, in a way that you know that you can count on that person, that that person is always there for you. You feel seen, inspired, and that person starts to become a safe place for you. So sometimes you don't even have to explain anything to that person. That person already understands you from the moment that you start talking. And when I start to talk about loyalty, that's something very good in friendship too. You know, when someone says, you know that there's someone talking behind your back, raise your hand if you think there's never anyone talking behind your back. Here I left it up because, no, let me put my hand down. So there's always someone talking behind our back. Always. There's always someone talking about us. Someone could be talking bad about you, but if there's a close friend of yours, that friend is going to stop that person because that person knows your virtues, isn't going to allow for someone to talk bad about you. But the other 90% of the times, I can give you my word, and I can be completely sure that the 90% of the rest of the times, there's people that are talking behind your back, but they're saying good things about you. They're saying positive things. They're talking about how you inspired them, how fun you are. They're saying how good you cook, or they're saying, you know, the last success that they saw that you had, or they're talking about the classes that you offer, or about how you play basketball, or they're talking about positive things about you, good and positive things to others. So don't care, never care about people talking behind your back. Always focus and just have your heart focused and your thought focused, your soul focused on knowing that there's always someone that's talking positively about you behind your back, okay? And so then there's also the fourth phase, which is really the phase of triggers, okay? It's testing and triggers. Maybe there's certain changes in your life, conflicts. Maybe one person had more personal growth or a difference in values. And so there's triggers in the relationship, and it can be a very important phase. So this phase starts to reveal the resilience in the friendship, if there's resilience or not. So your friendship is being tested. If you are able to move forward with that friendship after this phase, then you can really realize that this friendship is resilient. And I'm going to tell you something that I don't know if I can actually share. It's classified material. But I am very rebel-like, okay? Vienna, if you're seeing this, I'm saying it in a very positive way, okay? And while Tasha's translating, I'm sure she's saying, oh no, what is she gonna say? But it was something just very silly, okay? But I remember it was something not very important, okay? But I remember we were getting to the hotel after an event. Me, Tasha, Guy, Vienna, we were coming back, and I didn't agree with something that they were saying. And it was like a very uncomfortable moment with Vienna. Don't worry, there's not a lot of gossip. It was a brief moment. Maybe it was like a minute, 30 seconds, but it was an uncomfortable moment. But after that uncomfortable moment, I remember it was just kind of like we started to laugh. We all started to laugh a little. And I remember that scene in my mind where Vienna is getting out of the car, Guy is giving her his hand to get down. She's getting down and she just says, "Welcome to the family, Dani." And I remember she said, I think the moment where someone trusts me enough to be able to discuss and have a different opinion, then that means that we trust each other enough to continue our relationship. And I remembered that very well. And when I saw this cycle, these phases, this triggering stage, it talks about our maturity. When you're having this moment with a friend and you get to this phase with that friend, when there's a trigger or something is detonating, just remember those virtues and remember that we all have a hidden agenda and that we all express our emotions differently and in different ways. And just go back to who you are, to your virtues. Remember that person's virtues. And if you think you still align, then you know that you can go to the next stage. And you know that you passed that test, that trigger. And the nicest thing, do I just have permission to download that you know how to grow in your relationships and friendships without having to test them constantly and without having to trigger things constantly? Do I have permission?
Okay. Entonces, vamos a instalar eso. Número 5, ya estamos por terminar.
Okay, number 5. Okay, we're about to finish. So the next one is transformation or release. When you get to this phase of release or transformation, the friendship evolves. It's very dynamic. You're both mature in your friendship. You don't fade anymore. Okay, you don't disappear. You know each other. You trust each other. And you feel safe in that person's space. So that's when you really come to this stage of transformation or release. That's the 5th phase. When you're here, it's okay. You can be free, okay? That's why it's called transformation or release, because you can feel free. You can feel in complete freedom with this friend. And for me, the most important part of this evolution of the friendship is number 6, which is integration and gratitude. So this part of integration and gratitude, so this part of having gratitude about everything that this friendship has taught you and is teaching you and everything you want to keep learning in a positive way from this friendship. So this friendship that you're grateful for in this stage of gratitude, you already have lessons, love, inspiration, and each friendship has left an energetic imprint on you. Every person that has come into your life has left an energetic imprint. So make sure that from the moment that you're in the stage 1, that spark moment, to start to select, with your intuition, with your love, with your aura, start to select that energy of the people that you really want to surround yourself with. Always surround yourself with the people that you really want to nurture yourself and that you want to give energy to in the healthiest way possible with your energy. Every friendship leaves that energetic imprint on you. So once that connection is transformed, you can take it with you with gratitude for the rest of time. And when I say for the rest of time, it can be something beautiful because friendship isn't just for this time or for this divine timing. Once you actually understand these different kinds of friends, and when you go through all of these cycles of friendship, I'm sure that in the end, you're going to want to keep that friend or that energy and that friendship, right? Those look for the rest of eternity, for this time and for other times if you choose so. So just make sure that you're creating people that are of value around you. And make sure that those people that are talking behind your back, that they're always saying how amazing you are. Okay. And you make sure to be the kind of person that is always saying and expressing how wonderful other people are. Don't waste time talking badly about other people. Focus on talking good and how amazing everyone is around you and the people that you've shared with and that has left this energetic imprint. So just before we say goodbye, I would just like you to close your eyes and just take a deep breath in, filling yourself with love. And when you're in this energy, in this seventh plane energy of unconditional love, I want you to ask the Creator to show you the friends that have created the biggest impact in your life. I want you to just ask the Creator to show you the friends have created the biggest difference in your life throughout your entire life. And when the Creator shows you these friends, ask for the Creator to show you the virtue that each one of these friends has taught you. And ask for the Creator to activate in your mind, in your heart, your soul, your spirit, to activate this virtue that these friends taught you. And I also want you to see the virtue that you have shared with them. And also as an extra gift, you're going to ask the Creator to show you an image or the essence of a person in any time, present, past, future, to show you the essence of this person that taught you what it is and what it feels like to have a true friendship, the virtue of friendship in its maximum expression, to show you what it feels like and to show you the essence of this person that showed you this virtue of friendship. And also, do I have permission to download the Creator's perspective, understanding, and definition of friendship? That you know what it is and what it feels like to be a friend, and that you know what it feels like to receive friendship from others, and that you know that your friendship is received with unconditional love. And do I have permission to download the Creator's definition of friend, and that you know what it feels like to be a friend, how to be a friend, and that you know how to have true friends around you easily, effortlessly, and that you surround yourself with positive friends, and that people value your friendship, and that you know how to value people's friendships also. And being in this beautiful energy of the Creator, do I have permission to release any shock and trauma from any past friendships that might still be there? Release shock and trauma from any friendship that you felt is negative, and just ask the Creator to send this negative energy to the light and to fill those relationships with unconditional love in this level, on all levels, in all times, what friendship is and what it means to you. And that you know you're worthy of receiving and giving friendship, and that you do it in a wonderful way, in an easy way. If you would just like to receive these downloads, just say yes. And take a deep breath in from this energy of the Creator, and just imagine how you rinse yourself off in a beautiful waterfall of light. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Yay. Muy bien.
Yay.
Hoy aprendí a manejar
So
la virtud del
today,
tiempo.
I learned how to handle the virtue of time. I did pretty good, a little over. So thank you so much for giving me this space. And thank you for being with us this morning or evening. Thank you for your friendship, Gaye. And also thank you, Tasha. And thank you to each one of you. And after, just write us, tell us how it goes. Okay, now that you can identify different kinds of friends and these different stages of friendship. So I'm sending you a big hug with lots of love. And I would love to just take a picture of you guys. If you don't want to be in the picture, it's okay, right? We can turn off the camera and that's okay too. And if you do want to be in the picture, just smile. Smile big. And we'll all take the picture too.
No más, uno más.
One more, one more.
Y creo que ahí los tengo todos.
And I think I have them all.
Muy bien. Muchísimas gracias.
Very cool. Thank you so much. And I'm sending you a big hug with lots of unconditional love. And thank you so much, Gaye.
We thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was amazing. I think it needs to be another module. It's an elective module, guys. Çok teşekkürler arkadaşlar. Bunun başlı başına bir modül olduğunu düşünüyorum açıkçası, değil mi? Yani çok daha keşfedilebilir alanları var. It's on its own. It's a module I said in Turkish as well. So thank you so much. It's a pleasure always to be with you. Teşekkürler herkese. Thank you everyone
Teşekkürler.
who has been with us. So see you next time and in another webinar or event. Bir sonraki sefer görüşmek üzere. Bizimle olduğunuz için teşekkürler. Kaydını YouTube'a ekliyor olacağım. Recording will be on YouTube. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.